Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, my beautiful girlies. It's Grace, and let's hop right in to this makeup get ready with me. So for today's topic of discussion, it is more so going to be a sort of topic of discussion and also like event slash reflection at the very same time. And basically I am going to be really like talking about Princess Tiana and her movie and the role that she did in her movie and how that relates to how Black women's labor, or how it shows that Black women deserve things and deserve the best treatment after our labor is done. So in all honesty, this video was inspired by the Coloring Room. It is a Black channel, a Black woman channel to be specific, since she is a Black woman, and what she does is that she grabs these Black coloring books, themed books, and as she colors in them, she talks about different varying Black topics, like with Black women specifically, whether from just reflecting on old movies, TV shows, whatnot. And I love her channel so much. It's one of my favorite channels thus far. So I know I don't do this until the end of the video, but I will be linking the Coloring Room's YouTube channel and the video that inspired this video in the description box down below, because I just think that I just have to shout her out in the beginning. Definitely subscribe if that is the kind of content that y'all enjoy, and also just watch her video. I really do recommend her video. She did such an amazing job getting her thoughts out, with Princess Tiana and just the different comparisons that she made in her video. Such an amazing watch. One of my favorite videos of hers that she's done on her channel thus far. And I just wanted to give my own reflections on her video and also add on my own thoughts as well. So without further ado, let's just hop right into the discussion. So like I said before, in the Coloring Room's video about Princess Tiana, the main theme and focal point of her video analysis was how not only was Princess Tiana an amphibian basically almost all of the movie, but she also didn't get the nice things and the great treatment that all Disney princesses usually get in Disney princess movies until the very end, versus our other Disney princess counterparts, them not having to basically struggle to get the things that she wants. Because with Princess Tiana, she worked 2 jobs, she worked back-to-back jobs, she basically gets no sleep, and she just has to keep going and going and going and going, while her best friend Lottie, even though is a great friend and she really does want to give Princess Tiana the best as possible as she can, with the different things that she did in the movie, we see that obviously she doesn't have to struggle like Tiana does, and she lives a completely different life than her friend. And honestly, just the comparisons that the Coloring Room did with Princess Tiana versus the other white Disney princesses, and even with the other minority princesses as well, is very astounding. It's very astonishing, because one of the biggest things that I got from that as well is that whether with the white princesses, they basically did, some of the white princesses did struggle, but it wasn't as expounded like with Princess Tiana, because after they did a little bit of struggle, then they got the, you know, life that they truly deserve and as they should deserve. And even with the minority women that the coloring room did an amazing point on, is that, you know, for them, you know, their labor and their work was met with, you know, celebration. It was met with heroism, because they were actually saving the day when, you know, in whichever environment that those princesses were in, they were, you know, rewarded for that, versus with Princess Tiana. And I honestly just think it's very interesting to see the parallels that, you know, with Princess Tiana versus all of the other Disney princesses that we have so far, is how, you know, like what she does is just regular labor. She's basically not saving the day. She's just working 2 back-to-back jobs, not getting any thanks, you know, not being rewarded like the other princesses were rewarded until the very end of the movie. Because versus Princess Tiana, all the other Disney princesses got their rewards throughout the movie, while with Princess Tiana, it was basically at the very end. And with that, honestly, it really does relate to how Black women have been taught since a very young age that in order to get the good things in life, your labor has to come first. It's not where Black women are automatically deserving of those things. Even just in young Black girls, like, we learn, I know for a fact that I, you know, learned at a very young age that if I wanted to get very nice things in life, you know, I would have to put and do so much more labor than anybody else in order to be deserving of those nice things in the first place. Now, obviously, there were things given to me because, you know, I was just me, but especially me seeing it in my daily life and, you know, all of that fun stuff, it was really emphasized that, you know, in order for Black women to get nice things, we have to work for it, and we can't be deserving of it unlike our other counterparts. And in all honesty, just seeing, you know, the parallels of it now versus when I was younger, because I was literally 7 when Princess and the Frog came out. So, you know, I'm pretty sure I did watch the movie come out at the time. I'm pretty sure I did, because it was such a big deal back in 2009. But, you know, obviously when you're a child, you don't really see the underlying theme of the movie and how the movie was set in the first place versus when you are much, much older. Because obviously when you're much, much older, you actually get to understand concepts and understand, oh, you know, could you really say that Disney tried or whatever? No matter what opinion you have, you know, it's very interesting to say the least. Just growing up, especially in America, you know, just Black girls and even you know, young Black women and Black women in general, we see so many different examples of, you know, whether in real life or in media, of how we have to work twice as hard to get the things that we deserve. And you know, that's very obvious, whether if it's, you know, at school, at work, you know, just being around other different groups of people, etc. We see that a lot within our daily lives. So it's really hard not to see that. parallel at all. And you know, the first ever Disney Black princess that we get, you know, we would expect her to have her fairy tale like all the other Disney princesses have. But not only is she a frog for basically all of the movie, but also her prince, you know, Prince Naveen, you know, basically has a curse on him that, you know, where Princess Tiana has to, you know, kiss him in order to, you know, lift the curse. Because mind you, Prince Naveen was turned into a frog first, and then it was Tiana, you know. And that was another amazing point that the coloring room stated. It was how all the other Disney princesses got help from, you know, fairy godmothers, or from a talking, you know, fish and lobster, or, you know, this magical being. They got help, but Princess Tiana got a curse instead. And I think that's when it really nailed the fact that, you know, the movie was really showing us a theme within the movie, but they were trying to hide it. But if you really put two and two together, the theme is honestly clear as day. It was how, you know, we have to quite literally work our way out of situations, and we have to figure it out on our own, right? And it's just so insane to me how we missed that the entire movie. It's honestly crazy, to say the least, because it's like, wow, like, we, like, young, like, Black women and Black girls, we already see those examples in real life, and having to see that on screen as well, even when we didn't even realize it, is definitely a big, it's something that our brains can't really wrap around, because it's like, unfortunately in media, even back then in the 2000s, it was the same theme, struggle. And, you know, we have been trying to fight that theme for a very, very long time. And I'm actually very happy now in this decade, in the 2020s, we have more diverse stories of, you know, Black women, and, you know, us being seen through our humanity. But versus in Princess and the Frog, Tiana's humanity basically wasn't there. And you can even say that that is a very big theme in Black women's real life as well, and even Black people in general, that our humanity really isn't seen at times. And we have to go through literal loops in order for our humanity to be seen, in order for us to be seen that we are also deserving of things. And it's just so crazy that, you know, we don't get the same respect that everyone else usually has. It's honestly so odd, in all honesty, because majority of this is hidden. Like, you don't really realize it and recognize it until you know, after the fact. And I think it's just super duper telling that this was the route that, you know, Disney wanted to go down towards. You know, and people can say, you know, oh, well, I think you're kind of looking a little bit into it, and maybe, but I think that honestly, it's not really looking into it when you see a very clear, distinct pattern that really entails Black women's actual reality. And the movie, unfortunately, showed very young Black girls that, yeah, no, I mean, shoot, we thought that we were gonna see something different, but it's already what we see in our real lives as well. Like, we can't even have a Disney movie where we can imagine us being the main character, where we can have the best treatment. No, it's always the opposite, unfortunately. And it's just so sad, because it's like, you know, you can say like, oh, well, Princess Tiana is doing all she can, and, you know, she's just, you know, working those two roles and getting the dream life that she gets at the end. You know, what's wrong with that? And if you look at it very simplistically, it's like, yes, it could be a movie about a woman that goes hard at work to get the life that she wants. I understand that. But if we really try to compare it versus in real life, and just how Black women actually have to do that in the first place, that's not really like a fantasy. That's actually just like the things that we actually have to do within our daily lives anyways. It's like, no, it's not a fantasy. It's actually a thing where we have to work twice harder and stuff like that. Like, that's not a fantasy. It's actually the lives that we live 25/8. And I think why a lot of Black women, especially myself, are just so offended by that movie is because it's just like, why can't Tiana just rest? Like, why does she have to go above and beyond for her dreams? Why can't she just get her dreams easily like every other Disney princess did? And I don't think that is a bad statement or thing to say at all, that we want to see ourselves already deserving of, you know, a life of leisure in the very first place without having to work for it so hard. And the simple fact of it is that even in real life, we can't even have standards in the first place of like, oh no, like, this is what I, you know, want my life to be. This is the life that I want, period. I don't want it to be another way. And, you know, it also kind of like teaches us is like, we have to work with what we got. You know, it's, you know, the movie also just showed me as well, and the reflection that the coloring room did as well, of what it really showed me is that Black women have to work with what we have. You know, we can't just already have the resources to us. We just have to find a way to make the small things, you know, the bare minimum, or the minimum that we have in the first place. We have to find a way to make it work. We can't just already have things solved for us. We have to go through hoops. We have to jump through hoops in order to find another way to do things, because that is what our real lives honestly did, you know, show us. That we can't just have it the most simplistic way. We can't just already have it figured out. We have to go through so many more obstacles just for us to even relax in the first place. Like, it's basically not a given. I just genuinely believe that there's just so many hidden themes that, you know, we didn't even think about at the time. And honestly, now, as someone in her 20s, it's really just eerie to think about it in that way. It's like, wow, all of these themes were hidden, but it was just clear as day if you really looked at the movie in depth. And honestly, I didn't even realize it, but the top I'm wearing is like literally the similar colors that Princess Tiana wore in the movie. So who knows, maybe, you know, this color match was for a reason. I don't know. I thought that it was funny, and I observed that observation. But it's, And so it's just, you know, I just feel so bad for Princess Tiana when I really look at her as if she was like my own friend, because it's just like, why does she have to go through all of these hoops just for her to have her dream life at the very end? Mind you, we only see that for like a couple of minutes, to be very generous. And you know, I don't get it, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, at first I saw that a lot of Black women didn't like the movie, and I was like, oh, well, you know, why don't you like it, da da da. You know, I thought that they were, you know, we were hating on, oh my goodness, like, we have our first Black Disney princess, like, why don't you like it? And then when I really peel the layers of the different things that I did not see when I was much younger, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah. So, yeah, I don't like it either. This is what we have to settle for. If anything, it's actually worse than the bare minimum. It's not even the minimum at all. We basically had to settle for crumbs, I can say. And there were right things that Disney did within this movie, you know, showing us New Orleans. There's another, you know, side of, you know, a place that most Disney movies never really go to in the first place. But then it was during the 1920s, and during the 1920s was a very different world for Black people in general. I don't know, it wasn't really accurate in the movie, but you know, guess we gotta settle with what we got, right? Honestly, I don't know, you just honestly feel really bamboozled, because it's like, oh, okay, thought we were gonna, you know, get some action packed or whatever, like every other Disney princess did, and you know, we didn't. But honestly though, genuinely, I can say that Anika Rose, I have no idea if I'm saying her name right. If I'm not, then y'all definitely roast me in the comments. But the woman who played Princess Tiana, she is absolutely so beautiful. I think that she did such an amazing job, and she should definitely be recognized for the contribution that she definitely did do. She did such an amazing work with her role as Princess Tiana. She made her very classy and just very eloquently. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I loved about Tiana's character, is that even with everything that she was going through, she handled it with grace. Like what Black women do anyways, is that we handle things with grace, even, you know, with the hard stuff that we do have to go through. And but yeah, it's just, you know, now thanks to social media, we're now seeing a different way of life that Black women can live, and we are deconstructing the beliefs that we were taught when we were younger about how you know, we have to accept the bare minimum. We have to, you know, just work with the things that we have, and we just can't be deserving of them in the first place. It just really shows how we are allowed to want to have the finished product and not the just separate pieces of a puzzle. We are allowed to have the full puzzle done and not just given the different puzzle pieces and put it together ourselves. And it's just been amazing just having to unpack that, you know. It's just honestly so great that social media is teaching us different ways of life that we weren't taught growing up. And honestly, you know, the interesting things that were, you know, seen in the movie that we didn't see before, it was still such, you know, a great movie at the end, you know. Definitely things that can be improved on. But, you know, now we know how we can get better movies that represent, you know, Black young women and girls well. And we can just, you know, learn from our past. But yeah. Alrighty, you guys, so I just finished my makeup look. What do we think? What do we think? What do we think? I am really loving this lip gloss. It looks so good, and I really hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I hope that my thoughts weren't too confusing, but if they were, I'm so sorry. And yeah, but I really hope that y'all enjoyed, and I really loved talking about this topic. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you all enjoyed. I hope that y'all will have an amazing Monday, an amazing week, and I will see all of y'all's beautiful faces next time. Bye, guys.